Every year, 73 million babies are murdered before being able to take their first breath. That is one of the biggest tragedies of our time, but what if I told you that there is a way to fight against it? Zachary King is a former satanic high wizard and performed 146 abortions as sacrifices to Satan. However, 3 of them failed, and they all had one thing in common. Listen to his story.
So we go in there. I'm dressed as the high wizard. I put on a surgical mask and gloves. So it's me, an abortion doctor, and an abortion nurse. All I've got to do is get blood on my hands. We're totally ready to start. The doctor checks the woman and says, you're not dilated. She's like, what? He goes, you're not dilated. This abortion's not happening right now. This is like at least 6 hours away, probably tomorrow. And she's like, excuse me. And I'm like, yes. She goes, is this your first rodeo too? No, I've done this quite a bit. And she said, well, the baby's in the birth canal. You might want to go ahead and start. And, I was like, he says you're not dilated. I'm not really sure what that means.
Okay.
And so I don't know what to check for. I'm not a doctor. She says, what do you do? I said, I'm not a wizard. She goes, and you don't know how to check. There's no, I don't go to medical school for this. And she's like, you need to get down there. You need to get busy. You need to get going. Stuff's happening. You're going to have a baby on your hands. Doctor checks again. Goes, not dilated. Baby's definitely not in the birth canal. And, she's cussing us both out. I mean, some of these words I've never even heard before. And she's going on and on and on. She's like, you guys need to figure this out and start. Doctor checks one more time. He goes, there's nothing going on. We need to just come back when we can. And I said, well, I can come back Friday, but this needed to take place today.
So before we continue, I have one question. Was this one was about to give birth? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and the reason why you wait so long for the abortion, is there a specific reason why, as a Satanist, you waited that long before?
They wanted it to be a late-term abortion.
And why?
Because you're murdering a baby that would be viable on the outside if it came out. You're killing more innocents.
So the principle is to try to do the most evil thing possible, and the worst thing is that the baby is about to come out and you just kill it right there, right?
Right.
Okay. So let's go back to the story. What happened? The lady wasn't dilated. She was cussing you out. What happened after?
Me and the doctor are involved in a conversation about when can I come back? Because I can't come back till Friday, but I've got things scheduled up until then. What do you have scheduled? Can you get me another girl in here on Friday that would understand what's happening? And as we're having this discussion, we hear a baby cry. And we both look down and the baby came out. And I think the doctor said, I'll be damned. And then we have an attorney and a social worker comes in, and the nurse stays and takes care of the baby. And they get the baby ready for adoption. There's people waiting in line to adopt, and they'll be called right away. And it won't be a Satanist that takes it. It'll be somebody that's a non-Satanist that wants the baby that isn't going to kill it. And, then it was time for me to go. My job is over. I didn't get to kill a baby. So we went back, walked downstairs, got in the car and drove away. Eventually, I'm back in the office. And the office is in downtown Chicago. And I asked my secretary to pull all the files of all the failed abortions. Because I've had at this point, this was my third one. And I want to know what's the common denominator. So she pulled all of mine and everybody, all the other eye wizards. So I can review everybody's and see what the common denominator is. So then I can tell the other eye wizards, hey, avoid this. So the only common denominator I could come up with was that when they failed, they were happening during regular business hours. So between like 8 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Okay.
Now, something else that was a common denominator, but I didn't pick up on it because everybody called it something different. Everybody was saying, and people were outside praying Jesus beads, worry beads, prayer ropes, prayer chains.
So every time there was a failed abortion, there were people outside the abortion clinic that were praying.
Praying rosaries. But no one used the word rosary. When I cranked the window open, they were saying Hail Marys from a rosary. I didn't know what a Hail Mary was. I didn't know what a rosary was. I grew up Baptist. We didn't pray rosary. So here it is that everybody where there's a failed abortion, people were outside praying on their rosaries. Every high wizard that had a failed abortion, somebody was outside praying on rosaries.
Well, that's surprising and not surprising depending on what you believe. I am not surprised because I have seen things like this happen, but it's a reminder for any Christians that if you pray, God answers and can definitely do things like this. And I think that's the reason why there's so much of a push against prayer outside of abortion centers. They probably have woken up to that and now they're trying to fight against it.